Hey, so now we have here with us some of the volunteers that make this conference happen because it's not just a couple of folks that do it. This is a big team, and here with us you got Rin, Mariana, and Andrew. That's going to talk a bit about what they did to help the conference, and yeah. So let's start with Rin.
Hi, my name is Rin and I'm a volunteer at DjangoCon Europe. Um, Next slide, please. So like the teams for volunteers are, you can see the teams for volunteers here. It's like Team COC, it's the team that prepares the code of conduct. Team content is responsible for the website and other content. Team diversity, of course, responsible for diversity. Team Jungle Girls is like responsible for organizing a Jungle Girls workshop for women. Team Financial Aid, like for money things. Team Public Relations, Team Social, which helped you with the Gather Town, and Team Sponsors, also like very important team, which helped like the with gathering the money for the conference. So my name is Ren. I'm a backend developer. I worked with Django like for 5 years or a bit more now. And I have been attending DjangoCon since 2017, like at first the live ones, then like last year and this year the online ones. Like, so this year I wanted like I wanted to like finally give something back to the conference, and I filled the form for volunteering, and yeah, and I was invited to volunteer for the DjangoCon. And so when I filled the form, I had in mind to organize the Django Girls, which is usually organized together with DjangoCon or other Python conferences. So, but there wasn't an option for Django Girls, so I just clicked one of the other options, and I uh, added to the general volunteers team. Um, then I said that I would like to organize the Django Girls workshop. Uh, Also, there was uh, on a volunteers channel, there was supposed that they are looking for people for code of conduct team. So I joined that one because I care a lot of about code of conduct, and it also helps other things like diversity, inclusion. Um, so I volunteered for that one then. And with Team Social, it was like a bit um, like there's an interesting story. Well, I complained that last year I lacked a bit of like interaction between uh, uh, participants, attendees of the conference. Then when the Team Social was created, well, it was a matter of principle to join that team. Uh, so, uh, volunteering is well. I have been attending like a few of the conferences, but volunteering gives a somewhat different perspective and um, like a different way of like this year I see this conference in a somewhat a different way. Like I'm a part of it and I'm responsible a bit, even if like compared to the organizers, my part is not like a very big part, but still I feel like giving back and like being a um, like a part like more a part of a community than only as an attendee. Um, so I also would like to talk about sprints, which is also a great way to be a part of community. Sprints will be happening on Saturday and Sunday. It's for those who don't know what sprints are, it's a way to contribute to the open source software, uh, uh, like of Django or other related tools. It doesn't have to be programming. For example, I myself um, have participated in like helping with documentation, or even like with helping testing the documentation, because I found it easier to like to join on that side, especially when it's like 1 or 2 days. But of course, like uh, um, um, you can join also programming. It's very good. I saw there are quite interesting. Some of the projects are quite interesting that will like for this year. Um, so it will be really a nice experience, I think, and a great way to contribute to the community, to Django. Also, you can volunteer next year. Uh, as a volunteer, you can do as much or as little as you want. So it's not something, how to say, it's not scary, and it's nice to feel a part of a team and to do something for the conference. Um, so one of the things that I was volunteering for was to organize a Django Girls workshop. Um, so Django Girls is an initiative uh, to help women to get into programming if they want. So it's a one-day workshop where uh, attendees can build uh, like a website. And what I particularly like, it's not only the programming part, but they are introduced to also to deployment, to editors, also allowed to make like uh, on purpose, allowed to make mistakes and then find solutions, fix them. Um, so it's also finally they get to see their own website online. So it's also they are using Git, like a full cycle of programming basically, which shows what the programming really is. And uh, uh, it's important because women are often told that programming is not for them. So it's very important for them to see that it is for everyone. And if you want to be a mentor, you can go to djangogirls.org and find a workshop near you, or any online workshop, and subscribe to be a mentor. Now
Hello.
hi.
So, hi, I'm Mariana. I'm from Brazil. And well, I've been attending DjangoCon Europe since 2018. You wonder, like, why someone from like a very far continent would be attending DjangoCon Europe. But yeah, that's pretty simple. I went once to the German version in Heidelberg, and yeah, I did felt fall in love with the community. It was like a great conference. I met a lot of interesting people, and yeah, and that's the best thing about conferences, is that once you go and you meet people and you find interesting people to talk to, you want to go back every year to meet those people again and uh, meet new ones and like strengthen those ties with the community. I am myself very grateful for all of the Python community. I There's been 10, 11 years since I've been going to events in the Python community in Brazil, way before I even thought about working with that. And it was through the Python community that I learned how to program, that I knew about my work perspectives. Uh, so I did make a living out of the Python community. Like, it's what pays my bills nowadays. Uh, and it's it's time we give back to that community. You see people coming here to those conferences, uh, taking their time to prepare talks, uh, taking time to organize, to put all of that together, and we, with very little effort, can give something back to that community. So one of the things that struck me at the first DjangoCon conference I came was the quality of the content. It was amazing to see that every single talk was really good. So when I thought of volunteering this year, I thought I could contribute to that, to helping look at the talk proposals and be part of making that content great. And a second thing that was like the best, maybe the best thing about my experience in DjangoCon Europe was how welcoming everyone were. Like, you can imagine coming from Brazil to a conference in Europe. You imagine, well, maybe people won't be that open or that extrovert in the old continent. But it's was exactly the opposite. I felt welcomed by the community everywhere. It was just like walking around. People would stop and talk to me. And then last year we had this first online event, and I really felt it I really missed the interactions. So yeah, another thing I thought I could contribute was to, yeah, bring that live experience. And I hope you felt, everyone here felt this warmth and welcoming too. I did think we did a great job this year to uh, make everyone feel welcome and less lonely as we're isolated at home. Um, so that's it. Hope you see you next year and probably volunteering.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Andrew Kinywa. I'm a teaching fellow at Strathmore University. So normally this is my first, I would say, conference for me to attend, and I've been thrilled. So the journey into which I came into being a volunteer, I think it was more or less more like a mistake. So I was just on Twitter, and then I think there was some bit of a pop-up that came in that, if you'd like to kind of volunteer on a Django project, then you can do it. So I just filled in the form, and at first I thought it was like more of the overall Django conference. But then I think after interacting in the first time, I sent the I received the email, the notification from Miguel. That's when I realized, this is the Django conference for Europe. However, I think there is the one that was, I think, scheduled for maybe for Africa, because I'm currently in Kenya. Hopefully I will be able to maybe attend, and also maybe work as a volunteer also, just to help the community in general. Basically my background in Django was more of just learning, trying to learn something new. Basically my background is not so much into web development. So I've had some bit of hard, what do I say, like some bit of a hard curve or a steep learning curve for me to understand some of the concepts. Prior, I had been warned that maybe Django is, I think, like has a steep learning curve compared to other currently existing Python web frameworks, but I think I was up to par. But I said, let me just take the challenge and continue and maybe challenge myself on these. So I think I felt that the community at so far on DjangoCon Euro has been fantastic, and I've had an interesting, if I may say, experience just by learning new tools so far, and then getting to interact with different people, and having to, most times as being as a volunteer, looking at the talks has also given me some bit of framework on how I should be able to basically work and help, the Django framework. Maybe also as my future, if I may say, as a future plan, I hope that I'll be, in the future I will be able to contribute more, now not as a volunteer but also maybe as a speaker. Hopefully once again more confidence in that, on that end. But I really hope I'll be able to attain at that specific level, at that specific level. Then as part of this, we have the Gather Town conference, so you can be able to socialize and kind of break the legs. I will use the word like break the legs more, since we can't have more of a physical meetup. But I believe at us meeting up on Gather Town is going to basically help us interact more and give more ideas on how we can be able to improve the Django community all over everywhere. So after this meeting, let us meet at Gather Town, and let us interact and connect. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So it was a great day with amazing content, great talks and workshops. And now we are going to go to the lightning talks. Today we have two lightning talks. The first one is by Felix, and the title is Strong Typing Package, what you can do with type annotations. And the second one is by Vibu, and the title is Django REST Framework equals Restful Apis, ? Enjoy.
Hi guys, so this is my first lightning talk ever, and I want to share with you my strong typing project. Some of my colleagues find this quite nice, so that I want to share it here with you. And it mostly works with the type annotations in Python, but normally you have to violate the right principles if it comes to type annotations, because you have to write the annotation and to still check for the correct type inside of your function body. And with the decorator match typing, you can get rid of this. Besides the only function-based decorator, I created also a class decorator, which assign then the match typing to all of the functions which have the type annotations inside of it. It is also possible to enable or disable this whole process of this match typing to have some differences when it comes to develop or for production level. And I created also a getter and setter, so that the setter works like the same principles, that the type that you annotate here get checked. And also some useful decorators are the creation of doc strings from the type annotations, so that you don't have to violate there also the right principles and don't have to check each time you change the type annotations to check your doc strings. And that comes with as REST style or in the NumPy style. You can see here I can give different kinds of types and also the return type, and I get this automatically output when I check the docs. I can also add some additional informations here. It's getting from 1, so the first parameter get these additional informations, and the second this one, so that you will find the informations here. And there's also some kind like a placeholder that you can say, okay, I want to have it here, and make some more informations downwards. Then I created also 2 own types, which have where you can pass in a validation function, then that you can achieve similar things like in Django with the models, where you can say, okay, I have a char field here, and I want or don't allow any char longer than maybe 200 characters or so, or only positive integers. This can be achieved with this validator type. And when it comes to containers, then you can use the iter validator type, which is more or less like the map function, and will map each element inside of this iterable to this function here. That's it. That's my first lightning talk. It's done here. Check it out if you want. It's available on PyPI. It's called Strong Typing, and also I'm on GitHub, where it's Felix the C, like Felix the cat, and yeah. So have a good day.
Hi, I want to talk about the APIs. So in the internship I did last year, I had to develop a lot of APIs because most of the projects were based on front-end, back-end stack, and we also wanted to use Django. So the most obvious way to go was to use Django REST framework, and so we did. Now there's this term known as RESTful APIs, which go synonymous with Django REST framework a lot of times. And because I'm a student, I was asked to read about the RESTful design, and so I did. I read this dissertation and learned a lot. But I also stumbled upon this strongly opinionated blog by Mr. Fielding, in which he explains that what he considers that shouldn't be called as RESTful design, and the API should be nearing HATIAs to be considered as RESTful APIs. And so this is just a fancy name for saying that the API should have hyperlinks to navigate through the whole set, and the front-end developers shouldn't really be using the documentation to know how to use the APIs. So I began to think that why did Django REST framework developers use the name as REST in their name? And I did get the answer in the documentation, because they say that the correct terminology that they are focusing is web APIs. That's what they're using in most parts of the documentation, and aren't really implying that the APIs implemented would be termed as RESTful APIs. But they do have a lot of links and probable support ideas in which you can implement fully RESTful APIs. I found this thing in tutorial 5, that is hyperlinked APIs, through which you can embed the hyperlinks in your APIs. But most of the times what we used was to just pass the ID of the object inside the one of our APIs, and the front-end developer would just look at the documentation and know how to pass the ID of the object in one of the URLs and get the full object. And that's what we did. And the other issue was that I was reading about RPC, and I thought that as our application is growing, we're slipping towards the RPC design and not really implementing the RESTful design as such. So these were the two issues that were really bugging me, and I talked about this to my mentor, and he said that it's really okay that our API design should be flexible enough so that it could be able to accommodate the changes which are happening and also be efficient at the same time. And I also want to put this question to the audience, that is it okay, and how they are designing their APIs in their application. And the probable conclusion to this talk is that the DRF is great, but if we have to be really technically correct with the term we are using to tag our APIs, we shouldn't really be using the RESTful APIs as a term, and we can probably use web APIs as the correct term. Thank you. I hope you found it interesting.
So that was it for today's lightning talks. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to submit your own lightning talk, you can also do that. I'm going to put the link right now on Slack. So just fill it up the form with your name and your title of the lightning talk and the URL for lightning talk, and it will show up tomorrow in the closing session.